What's going on, everybody? TG3 here. Here again with another Biz Growth Collective spotlight. Super excited about this spotlight today. Coming to you all the way from Tampa Bay, near Clearwater. We got Barack Ganot, and we're going to be able to spotlight his business and talk about, the growth, some of the things that he's overcoming, a little bit about his journey. So why don't we start with you introducing yourself, Barack? Tell people a little bit about what you do, and let's dive right in.
Thank you so much, TJ. My name is Barack, like you said, and I have been doing marketing for over 16 years now. I actually started as a business consultant, and then in the last 16 years, I'm doing marketing. And I'm providing services for small businesses that usually what happens with them is they lose a lot of the leads. They don't keep in touch with their current or past customers. And basically, a lot of people are falling through the cracks, and I make that leaky bucket waterproof. I make sure that they are getting leads and keeping them. They are in communication with their audience so that their business grow and they have less hustle and can grow their business even further.
Yeah. And then, just based on what you've seen so far from consulting and marketing, like whenever those businesses are having those leads slip through the cracks, how much on average you think is costing them?
Oh, it depends on the business. I'll give you some examples. So I'll share my, the reason I actually started doing that for businesses. You see, until recently, my only focus was either working with celebrities, like I worked with Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank, with Magic Johnson on the other side of that for this beautiful country, and with high-end dental offices. And with that, for example, I had an experience, and I've seen a lot of things throughout the years that I've been doing that. But one incident come to mind when I was getting leads for this dental office, leads for full mouth dental implants, basically full mouth reconstructions, something that can cost either $30,000 or $60,000. If you need an arch or full mouth. And we got nice leads, for $6-8, very affordable, very good quality leads, and they were closing patients. However, one time I spoke with the office manager, and I found something very interesting. I found out that they are losing a lot of the leads that they're getting. So while they're closing some and they are getting good return on investment, they're also losing a big portion of that. One thing that I've realized is that 40% of the calls are not being answered. They're missing 40% of the calls. Now that sounds outrageous, but that was the industry standard for dental practices. Some of the calls are after hours, some are because they're busy with handling other patients that are in front of them. Sometimes somebody goes to the restroom or goes to eat and there is less people to answer the phones. And thus a lot of the calls are being not answered correctly. Sometimes a patient would schedule and then had something happening that he had to reschedule and nobody would follow up correctly. There was one phone call and then I said, okay, well, that person is not serious, he doesn't answer the call. So there was no system basically to follow up with those precious leads, even though it's very, like every lead could be like an average of $40,000-$50,000. So it really depends on the business. And with local businesses, well, the ticket can be lower than that, but still a lot of the leads can be missed, either because phones are not being answered, leads are not being followed up, no nurturing of leads that you get by either way. Sometimes there is not even a way to gather new leads using lead magnets or something like that you can actually create leads. And in a lot of cases, there is no follow-up or reactivation of existing customers. How much it is, every business should decide on its own. Like, for example, I spoke with a restaurant owner yesterday. And in town, I had a meeting in that restaurant, very high-end restaurant. Actually, the mayor of Dunedin was there as well. with us. And I'm a patron of that restaurant. I mean, I went there once for my anniversary. They never captured my data to ask me for reviews or something like that. You know, you go to a restaurant, it's not like a usual thing, but still, I saw that it was missed. They never communicated with me. Not only they didn't ask me for a review right away, they never brought me back because they didn't have my contacts. And I told the owner, look, it is something that you missed. I mean, I had a dinner here. I enjoyed my time. You never, asked me back to come back for a holiday or for my birthday or something like that. You don't even know my birthday. So how much it is? I mean, I spent about $200 on that meal with my wife. Think about that this way. If they could bring back 5 to 10 people back to that restaurant from the existing client base, and each one pays about $200, that's a good amount. That's between $1,000 to $2,000 every month. Every week, if they can actually do that correctly.
That makes sense. Yeah, I've come across some business owners that are spending just pretty much leaving like $5,000 to $7,000 out on the door, especially a lot of your contractors that are doing like, pool coping, patio decks, even foundation repair. You're talking about leaving $10,000 to $20,000 on the table. For the people that don't know out there, I know what you mean, but can you explain what lead nurturing really consists of?
Yeah, definitely. So imagine somebody gets a lead and they do not, I mean, let's look at it this way. Not everybody is ready to buy right away. Okay. So if you're going out there, a lot of businesses are doing either Facebook ads or Google ads or doing SEO. They're collecting, let's say, a name, an email, maybe a phone number, and they may contact them right away, but those people are not ready to buy right now. And then they stop. So they do not really continue on that process of sending them stuff. I'll give you a small example. I recently did my roof. I mean, we had some storms here and so on, and I had to redo my roof. Now I have a big roof, about 5,800 square feet, and it was a big job. North of $30,000. It's a big job. It's a very lucrative work for a roofer to do. I had several quotes, and some of them did not follow up. Now, not all of them. I got about 4 roofers that I've checked, and 2 of them were, companies I wanted to work with. Different reasons, but one of them was really preferable by me. I liked the way they approached it. I liked their professionalism, the time they have in the market. It seems like a good fit. However, they didn't follow up with me enough. They didn't check with me. They didn't send me some testimonials while I'm debating which one to choose. Right? It's a big decision. And I was paying that out of pocket. So, they didn't send me testimonials. They didn't send me tips about roof replacement or the different materials and what they do differently and stuff like that. The other company, that was my second choice, not number one, they kept in touch with me. They answered my questions. I had questions about combining it with solar and other things that I needed to answer. They were on top of it, and they were in communication with me. And eventually, I chose those, even though the other company was my first choice. That kind of like switched, and that was just the decision process that I had. And every business will have a different timeline of that decision, and a lot of it depends on the size of that investment, basically. Some things are very easy to decide upon, like which ice cream parlor would you go to tonight. That's something that is
I don't know,
very
man.
easy.
If you ask my 7-year-old, man, that's a full-blown debate.
Yeah, but some things are big, like you mentioned about pool. If I'm gonna redo my pool, it's not a light decision to make, or the roof, like I gave an example, or a solar. solar panels that again can be like $30,000 like I paid. Those things can be a lengthier process. And if you don't have a system of emails and texts to send across that period of time that you estimate the person can be debating, and look, and sometimes somebody is not in the market to do it right now, but maybe later. Okay, maybe I'm thinking about, let's say, painting my house. My next door neighbor paid $20,000 for that, to paint the house and do some stucco things. This is a big thing, and it's not urgent. You see, if somebody has a plumbing emergency, he needs to decide right away. But if somebody thinks to upgrade the look of their house or something like that, that can be a decision in their mind for the next 6 months maybe. And maybe they're thinking about that, but not sure, not pulling the trigger. And if you don't have a system to drip feed some messages about yourself and why choose you and why to do that and why now, all those things, then you might be losing that to somebody else that will do a better job, or that will come later on when that person is ready to buy. Because like I said, maybe 3 to 5% are ready to buy right now. What about the 95% that are not ready now and maybe ready in 2 months or 3 months?
That's a really good point. And, I see that in the marketplace a lot. You said you've been doing this for 17 years or 19 years?
Yeah, the marketing part, I've been doing that over 16 years now, since 2009.
Okay. And then just as a business owner in general, like you've been doing this for over a decade. So if somebody was to say, hey, I'm about to start a business, or I've been in business for 2 years, what would be like one, secret or gem or something that advice you would give them for just as a business owner that you would give them to say, hey, you might want to watch out for this pitfall or whatever the case may be?
Okay, so first of all, I'm going to start with the fundamentals. Marketing is the lifeblood of the business. This is what moves the business. If you have a great service but you don't have marketing, you won't have basically the energy to keep the business alive. You need to pay the bills. And a lot of business owners that start a business, I've seen that also as a business consultant. And again, I've been doing that since 2001, helping businesses. The first 8 years as a business consultant, then I specified on marketing. And the reason I did that is because I saw that most businesses have problem with their marketing. Okay, they have a good things going. They have a certain product, an offer, a service, whatever it is, but they don't know how to market themselves. Now, this is something I've seen with a lot of people that open up a business and don't take the marketing into consideration. They think if I'll build it, they'll come, and it doesn't happen like that. You need to be very, very conscious about what you offer and who do you offer to. So I would say spend some time and plan out. If you open up a new business, and I know that a lot of your listeners have a business that is going on already, but they may need to step back and do that. So you need to kind of like plan out the marketing. What does it mean? Plan out the marketing is have a lot of decisions. And I would say the first thing of them that is missed by a lot is defining your audience. Knowing exactly who your audience is, because you cannot just say, well, I'll put it's for everyone. You have to define it really clearly. You have to define exactly and that can include several segments. Like, okay, well, like for example, 40% of my audience will be people between 35 to 45 with those traits. And then I have 20% of maybe people above, 50 to 65 and so on. You'll have maybe different segments. Each one of them will have different desires to get your product to offer, or different pain points, different experiences. So you have to be very conscious. Who are your audience? The segments of the population, and each segment you can have, you have to learn about them. There are different ways to go about that. But you have to know their goals, their aspirations, and their pains, and their frustrations, and things they've tried in the past, and what will trigger them to get your service, and how to speak with them. All those things are very important to decide and to define. And frankly, almost in all cases, I see that they are missed. Sometimes I sit with a business owner and I run a customer research for his offer, and they're shocked. They say, "Wow, you're right, but I never really saw that this way." So this is a very important thing to do first out of the gate. I mean, there are a lot of other things, obviously, but I see that this is something that is missed. Not planning the marketing in advance, and the first step is actually defining who is my offer to, who will that resonate the most, and then crafting everything else, all your messaging, all your content, all your ads according to your finding. But you have to do the findings first.
Yeah, and then in the business world, we call that, defining your ideal avatar, your
Correct.
customer avatar. So can you speak on maybe some examples for those of people that it might not be 100% clear, maybe for like, a fencing company or something like that?
Well, it's hard to get something that is so general. Different companies, different products, even the same niche,
Yeah.
that can be different. You know what I mean? Like even a fencing company can be focusing on those type of fences and those type of fences. I have some tools I'm developing to help people to do that. I'm certified on AI and automation. Got my certificates, and this is something I use to help businesses save money. Basically, small businesses can do some of the stuff that only big corporation could do in the past.
Facts.
Okay. So when I sit, and again, people can reach out to me, and I can help them, but I cannot really give an example like answers that will fit for everyone. I can tell you that, for example, I just kind of like have something in my mind to tell you. Like, for example, let's say somebody teaches singing lessons and wants to do like a course, online course. The demographics for an online course for singing lessons will be very different than private one-on-one lessons. Like, for example, let's say kids or teenagers are more likely to do a one-on-one singing lesson than an online course. Does that make sense? And maybe the majority will be, let's say, or a big portion will be, young people, kids, in school-age kids, and but online courses, practically none, and you have to market to the parents anyway. But you see what I mean? Like, so that would be like an example, like that an online course like that will be more people that don't have time to go to a private tutor, or maybe want to save money and do it by themselves. This is a different audience than the people that will come in person. So a teacher like that is used to have one type of audience may think it's the same audience, but they will be basically not getting any traction and not getting anyone to want to get their services because of that problem.
Yeah, that makes sense. So for the people that, maybe they are just starting out and they're trying to define their audience and, things of that nature, like what else can they look out for as far as like a business owner? For sure they're missing out on marketing. They define their audience. Anything else that you think that, if you're starting a brand new business that you should look out for based on your experience?
Yes. Well, I can, first of all, I can recommend a book that has been great for a lot of entrepreneurs. And the book is called The E-Myth Revisited. It's not my book. It's a very famous book. If any one of the audience doesn't know that, I recommend that. Look it up on Amazon. It has about, I don't remember, but over 15,000 reviews. And it's been for decades in the top of the bestsellers list. written by Michael Gerber, and it's talking about actually opening up a business after you're good at something. Let's say somebody is a plumber working for somebody else. He's a technician and he's getting a lot of good things done and become very successful. At a certain point, he can say, you know what? Why do I work for that guy? Let's say there was I don't know, some incident. I don't want to work for that guy anymore. I'll open my own company. He depends on me anyway. I do all the job. He's getting all the money. I'll open my own company and basically be my own boss. And they open up their own company and become quote unquote an entrepreneur. And that's the basis of that book is the myth, is the entrepreneur myth, that it's basically just opening up and then you're done. But the book is talking about the journey that those people have, because what a lot of people do not realize is that a business owner is actually not one job, it's 3 jobs in one. You have to be both the entrepreneur, the manager, and the technician. So maybe that person is good as a technician, but he doesn't know the other 2 roles, and therefore there are a lot of like a lot of roller coaster hips and falls that come with that. And the book is talking about, it gives an example of McDonald's, that basically he's calling it the turnkey revolution. Get a business that is basically a turnkey. The business owner can be detached from it, and the work will be done. And if somebody needs to be laid off and replaced, and you put in a 15 years old, he can just do it the first day, because everything has systems. The systems are very important for a business. And specifically, there is a chapter just about marketing systems. So if your business is built on systems that you don't really have to think about in order to do, that will reduce a lot of your stress and will make you a lot more effective. I have some frameworks I've developed in the last 16 years. Every time I saw, because see, nobody teaches it. There is no like marketing school that teaches that, and a lot of people just hanging up a shingle and saying, "Hey, I'm doing marketing," but they don't know the principles. I'm the guy that reads 30 to 50 books a year, and some of them are from the 60s about marketing and business development, because then at that time in the 60s and the 50s, people could not make mistakes. Every marketing promotion was very expensive because you didn't have internet, you didn't have emails, you didn't have websites and stuff like that. You had to buy yourself into a newspaper for a long time, and have people, let's say they want your course or something like that, they have to mail in a check order and wait until they get some cassettes by mail for maybe 3 weeks. Those are a lot of obstacles that you had to go through. So if you don't know your market, and if you don't know your marketing very well, you would basically lose everything. So those people really understood marketing, because there was no margin of mistakes.
I love that. Yeah, I like to tell people that the best thing about being your own boss is that you get to be your own boss. The worst thing about being your own boss is that you have to actually be your own boss. So you need to get up when it's time to get up. You got to go execute when it's time to go execute. You got to turn it off when it's time to turn it off. When you have somebody else outside of you telling you that, for most people that have grown up in the industrial age, that have gone through their education system, and you went in the normal corporate life and you've been doing it that way for the past 30, 40 years, in your mind, you think, oh, I could just go out here and do it myself. But if you're not practicing those character traits of discipline now, it is going to be a very, very tough transition for you. I promise you. So,
Definitely.
you mentioned that book. What's your book you're working on right now?
Well, I'm a best-selling author of a book that I wrote for dentists, so might not be relevant for everybody. But I'm gonna be putting a book together that goes over the frameworks I I've developed, because what I've seen is people are very confused about marketing. A lot of business owners, again, understand maybe their own niche. They know how to, let's say, install an air conditioning unit or something like that, but they don't know about marketing. Yesterday, I met with a person, financial advisor, and when he described it, he said marketing is just a big black hole, and that's what a lot of people feel. They don't understand that. Some of them paid thousands of dollars for marketing and didn't get results, or maybe got a company that was not up to par because they don't understand it, and maybe they have some disappointments because they did something that was stupid because they didn't know that it is like that. So I've developed my own frameworks. If you want, I can share with your audience and show them a little bit about what are just make marketing easy. Would you like that?
Yeah, let's share the screen and dive in. Also, just while we're here, one of my favorite books about entrepreneurship in general, while you're pulling that up, is
Yeah.
The Entrepreneurship Roller Coaster by Darren Hardy. I read that book over a decade ago, and I don't think that there's enough people out there that take into consideration. Yes, the E-Myth, I think, is a fantastic book, but if you want something that's going to more so prepare you for the emotional bandwidth that you have to have and the mental fortitude that you have to have and the ups and downs that come along with this journey, I highly recommend The Entrepreneurship Roller Coaster by Darren Hardy. It is a fantastic book. There's the technical side that you need, but there's an emotional discipline and fortitude that you need in order to really make it as an entrepreneur, not just like have this esoteric dream that's, to feed your family, which is a great, it's an honorable goal to go out there and say, I want to be able to take care of my family and have a legacy to pass on to my children. That's very honorable. But how about we take something that's tangible and we take something that's the emotional fortitude and we can equip you and empower you to actually move toward that goal in a practical way. So highly recommend the E-Myth if you didn't get a chance to hear it earlier, and the Entrepreneurship Roller Coaster by Darren Hardy.
Okay, good. So first of all, do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. Again, it's not fancy. I just did it.
For those of y'all who can't see and you're listening to the audio right now, we're looking at 3 blue arrows with black writing on them that say attract, convert, retain. Attract, convert, retain.
And basically the essence of marketing, if you want to really understand marketing, it has only 3 parts: attract new leads, convert them to paying customers, and retain them for years. And that's marketing made easy. Just think about that. Those are the 3 steps: attract leads, convert them to buyers, and retain them for years. If you do that, you're golden. But if you look closely, each one of them consists of several smaller points, and I'll try to write it here. So basically, to attract people, you have to target. Let me just see if I can add that. It jumps. I'll just say it. To attract new leads, you have to target them by either ads or SEO or blog content or social media. I mean, that's where most businesses start when they think of marketing. Target new leads. But also you have to make sure that your esteem, your reputation is good, because that also passively attract you. You can actively go after people, but if you have good reputation, you also attract people that want to have good job done. Okay, and also when you target new people, if they see that you don't have good reputation, they will go away. Okay,
Yeah.
so you have those 2 things, and I call it target and esteem, that are in this bracket of attract. Next, you have to convert those to buying customers, and for that you need to have a few things here as well. You have to, when you have good system, when you're getting leads, you have to nurture them, like we spoke before. You have to basically keep them in the loop. Okay, that's one thing. And the second, sorry, I just blanked out for a second on something. The second thing that you need to do, and I'll show you, you have to have a system, a setup, a system that will get those leads. So when you have some leads that you attract, and you have to have open communication with you. And we spoke about the fact that on the dental side, 40% of the calls were not answered. With home services, for example, those numbers are a lot bigger than that. Maybe, according to research, about 68% of the calls are not answered. Because dentists have one person sitting at reception. An electrician may be just doing the work and the phone rings or speaking with the client. He cannot answer, and about 68% of the calls are not being answered. I've had it. I needed an electrician for doing some work on my pool pump and stuff like that, connecting it to my board. There was somebody I actually wanted to work with. I called him. He didn't answer. A lot of people don't even leave a voicemail. I think maybe I did, but he didn't answer. And the next day I called again, and again, no answer. I was just moving on and checked with other providers. And that happens quite a lot. Mm-hmm. Recently, actually, I had to order shirts. I went to a place that does it. I called several times. Somebody I got the name of. So I actually got a recommendation. I called several times. That person thought it's a spam call. She didn't answer. Eventually, I could get a hold of her. And I told her, why didn't you answer me? I was trying to call you for several days. She said, oh, I thought it's spam calls. So this is a way that stops people from converting leads. I mean, I'm giving you actual examples that I experienced as a client. And so again, those are two things. First of all, you have a setup. You have to have a setup that allows you to receive communications and allows you to see things in a very clear way. And you have to keep those people in the loop so that they will learn more about you. Then you have to retain them for years. And that also has two steps. One of them is you have to be reliable as a business owner. As a business owner, you have to do a good job. Mm-hmm. If you're a restaurant and every person that comes to your restaurant have food poisoning afterwards, you will not stay in business. Mm-hmm. If you're a plumber and you don't know how to seal leaks so that they will not happen again, you will stay out of business. So you have to do good work, and you have to do that with good attitude. But just be doing your job in a good way and give good service. That's one thing to retain clients for years. The second is you have to basically keep in touch with your customers, upsell them, get them to buy again, and so on. Just keep in touch. I gave you an example about the restaurant owner, but it's more than that. I had to, and again, just actual examples so every business can see how they fit about that. I recently had to fix my dishwasher. It's a brand not everyone takes care of it. And I remember, 3 years ago, I had an appliance repair guy. I couldn't remember his name. I tried to find him in my messages, in emails, nothing. Now, he never communicated with me since then. He never sent me like a happy Thanksgiving, happy Merry Christmas, whatever, nothing. There was no communication, so I forgot about him. I forgot his name. I tried to call several people, and by the way, again, I thought I remember the name of that, and I saw a lot of recommendation in one of the Facebook group. I spoke with the guy. He didn't answer my calls for 3 days, and then he said, "I'm on vacation. What do you want?" and stuff like that. Apparently, it wasn't the guy, but again, two things here. One, reliability. Do a good job. The second is keep in touch with your customers and bring them back or upsell to them. So again, those are the steps, but this is what I'm saying now is the sequence, but this is not the way. This is for existing business. If you want to build it, I have developed this framework that's called the result framework. Let me make it a little bit smaller. And this is an acronym, and it shows all the steps I said, but on the right sequence that you have to build it. And if you don't do it that way, you're losing. If one of those are shaky, the whole pyramid collapses. A pyramid is a very stable structure, but it sits on layers. And the first layer is the reliability. That's on you as a business owner. You have to do a good job, otherwise you'll stay out of business. Then you have to build out your esteem. That's where, for example, the online reviews come. Okay, so I help businesses get and build their online reviews so that they will look more, like a better option. And it's not just it's not just about bad reviews or bad score, because if you have five-star average, but you only have 23 reviews and your competitors have 100, you're losing out. If your reviews are stale, meaning you don't get reviews on an ongoing basis, your competitors will have better ranking on Google because they favor businesses that operate and get reviews. Then you have setup. I help getting the business so that you'll see with pipelines where your customers are in the journey, and have systems that get all the communication without a stop, whether it is with chatbots on your website, or with even an AI receptionist that can handle the missed calls, the ones you cannot get a hold of, and you get AI to answer it like human. They answer frequently asked questions, they save you time, and so on. Then you are connected with your existing client base, because that's the easiest sell you'll have. You already brought them in. It's easy to communicate with them and bring them back. They know you, they like you, they trusted you, they paid you in the past. Get them back. And you have to have systems for that. And you have to periodically communicate with them, send them data about your business, send them holiday greetings, maybe birthday if it fits your business niche, and so on. Then you have to have systems to keep new leads in the loop. Basically nurture them, like we said before, send them stuff about you, about your business, about what you're doing differently, about the advantages that you provide, testimonials, so that they will choose you. And only then you have target. You're targeting new people with ads, with SEO. And a lot of businesses start here and they don't have that built up as system, automated systems. So they target new customers, and everything falls through the cracks, and they have a leaky bucket problem. And that's not where you have to start. You have to build systems that have everything, and then you basically can keep your clients. Make sense?
That makes a ton of sense to me. Sounds like a lot of what, I appreciate business owners to this day. This has been extremely informative. Like, I think that a lot of people listen to this and they're going to say, oh man, I can't do all of that. Start with one thing, like he said, start with their reliability. By the way, that bottom tier has to do with, your integrity as a human being as well. If that's Correct. A little shaky, start keeping your word to yourself. You know what I mean? If you say you're going to do something and you promise you're going to do something to yourself, start keeping your word with yourself. Keep your word with your family. Keep your word with your kids. It'll naturally build up a habit of being able to keep your word with others, including your clients and your customers. But a lot of times it starts at home. So,
but the good news is, TG, is that a lot of those systems can be done affordably.
Yeah, especially in 2025.
Exactly. That's the main thing I want to say. Those are things that were not available for small businesses in the past. But I can build systems that, something like that, just a few $100 a month. You can have something that in the past cost thousands and thousands. So this is something that now with automation, with AI, can be so much affordable compared to to what you're losing out if you don't have it. You spoke before about what would a business lose if they don't have that, and those are usually in the thousands. So you can basically waterproof your bucket so that you won't lose leads instead of just pouring more leads that cost you thousands. This part is the most expensive thing, the targeting new leads. Okay, and if you're losing those leads, you're basically wasting more money than you can save. But then what will building that will cost you?
Absolutely. So tell people, like, where they can find you, how they can get in touch.
Okay, so I'll put in my website, and we should. So my website is growthboostercrm.com. Company is Growth Booster. Again, I'm in Dunedin, Florida, but I can work with everyone across the U.S. But you can go and check it out. Those are people I worked with, and you'll see a lot of testimonials. My certifications and stuff like that are here, and you can just book a call with me here. It will just take a time on my calendar, and we can chat together. And if it's a good fit, maybe we'll meet face to face and see how we can help you with your business a little bit better. Again, growthboostercrm.com. That's my website, and you can book a time with me or even text me from here.
Love it. Well, I appreciate you being on, Barack. Man, definitely drop some gems. If anybody's out there, listening to this, everybody that's listening to this, I just want to encourage you and say that, you have to start somewhere. It's a process, but you keep going, keep growing, keep tapping in with bizgrowthcollective.com, because we're here to help you grow your business as well. And nobody's out here really teaching this, so that's why we're on a mission to empower others. But definitely make sure you dial in your audience, and we will see you guys in the next episode. Any last words, Barack?
No, thank you so much for having me, and I wish a lot of audience success. I'm here to help if you need to clarify what you need to do.
Yes, clarity is key. My old mentor used to tell me, where there's clarity of vision, there is acceleration toward the known goal. So with that being said, we'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out. Keep growing.